Part 178. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1771. Saint, that is the sub-first rank priesthood in the Temple of the Alliance of Light, second only to the existence under the Pope's crown. How can Fang Fan think so? It's only been a few months since you came to the temple, but you've already made outstanding achievements. I can even foresee that in the near future, you will definitely take off even more. It's not impossible to inherit that position after 10,000 years. Dongguo Saint came to Fang Fan's side, and then said something secretly. What he said was already obvious, meaning that Fang Fan would have a chance to compete for the position of Pope in the future. Of course, this is also Fang Fan's long-term plan and arrangement. After all, after becoming the most powerful boss of the Temple of the Alliance of Light, all the rewards of the latent task can be extracted. With the thought of Fang Fan, the sound of inhaling involuntarily became real. Various thoughts and ideas exploded in his mind, and the smile on the corner of Fang Fan's mouth gradually became real. He can't wait 10,000 years. His plan is to climb to that position within 10 years at most. Little friend Fang Fan, let us swear an oath to the great Athena, the goddess of wisdom, and become our sincere brothers. We will never give up. Dong Qiushuo, the saint of the Temple of the Light Alliance, said excitedly. Fang Fan nodded silently. The sincerity of the Dongguo saint came first, and if he continued to refuse, he would appear a little ignorant. Besides, being able to worship a saint in the Temple of the Alliance of Light is also an extremely precious political resource for Fang Fan at this stage. I, Dong Qiushuo, swear to the great Athena goddess of wisdom that I voluntarily become opposite-sex brothers with Fang Fan. I don't want to be born in the same year, the same month, and the same day, but I want to die in the same year, the same month, and the same day. I will never betray you. If you violate this oath, I would like to fall into the hell of reincarnation. Please bear witness for me, goddess of wisdom. Saint Dongguo snorted secretly, and immediately made the contract of God. Obviously, he didn't intend to go back and thought about all the situations and possibilities individually. After Dongguo Shenge finished speaking, Fang Fan's expression gradually became solemn, then he began to mutter to himself. I, Fang Fan, swear to the great Athena goddess of wisdom that I voluntarily become brothers of the opposite sex with Fang Fan. I don't want to be born in the same year, the same month, and the same day, but I want to die in the same year, the same month, and the same day. I will never betray you. If you violate this oath, I would like to fall into the hell of reincarnation. Please bear witness for me, goddess of wisdom. In fact, Fang Fan just repeated the words said by Dongguo Shuo. After saying this, one after another divine power lingered around them. Even if a contract of God was completed, the energy of the contract of God entered Fang Fan and Dongguo Shuo's body respectively. In the body, a certain degree of restraint is formed on them. Ding. Detected a trace of divine power intruding into the host sea of consciousness. Activate the antivirus system. Ding. Antivirus successful. Ding. The contract is invalid for the host. The familiar system sound whirled in Fang Fan's mind, and Fang Fan sighed softly, feeling helpless. Everything is as he expected. In fact, he really wanted to abide by this God's contract. Facing the sincere Dong Qiushuo, Fang Fan was also willing to put his heart into it. Although it is likely that Dong Qiushuo is so excited because Fang Fan said that they were once gods under the command of the goddess of wisdom, it is good to be sincere to each other at the moment. It's just that the system's antivirus methods have always been so arrogant, and any intruding power of the god's contract will be killed. Leave no clues. In other words, all the contracts of the gods are invalid for Fang Fan. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1772. Brother Fang Fan, from now on we will be sworn brothers. Ha ha ha. Blessed people share difficult times. Don't forget your vows in the future. While Dong Qiushuo was talking, the smiles on his face became more and more, and the words expressed the joy and excitement in his heart. From Dong Qiushuo's point of view, Fang Fan is a potential stock with a bright future. Coupled with the addition of Goddess of Wisdom's divine relationship bonus, it made Dong Qiushuo more and more sure of the idea in his heart. Fang Fan nodded secretly and didn't say much, but the smile on his face became brighter and brighter. Brother Fang Fan, you have gone to the ruins of the gods, you have to be careful about everything. The ruins of the gods are not as simple as I thought. In addition to those talented practitioners who have to deal with the dark camp, there are also some natives of their own in the ruins of the gods. The individual combat power of those people is not very strong, but they are familiar with the environment and atmosphere in the ruins of the gods, so they must not be underestimated. Also, the natives there are very likely to have some changes due to the influence of the environment in the ruins of the gods. I said these in the hope that you can be more vigilant, and don't act rashly unless there is an emergency. Dongguo's Hung took a deep breath, and there were flashes of light in his eyes. While talking, his expression gradually became sincere. Brother Dongguo, I have a measure. But the ruins of the gods, how did they form? Could it be that it appeared out of thin air? With a thought, Fang Fan immediately asked. Seeing how much the light camp and the dark camp attached importance to the remains of the gods, Fang Fan felt that there must be some tricks in it. Call. Nature cannot appear out of thin air. I don't know much, I can only say that it used to be the battlefield of the gods. It is said that among the ruins of the gods, a true god has fallen. As for which true god fell, I don't know. The flesh and blood of the true god turned into aura and filled the entire ruins of the gods. Gradually, the environment inside also underwent some changes. Later, a supremely powerful person occupied the relics of the gods and wanted to refine the relics of the gods into his own, but unfortunately, he failed in the end. Those natives in the ruins of the gods are actually the descendants of that supreme power. That's all I can say. It is said that the true gods above the endless heavens attach great importance to this relic of the gods. And obviously, the most precious treasure among the ruins of the gods is the fruit of the gods. You must have heard that 8-star sanctuary practitioners like us want to break into the 9-star sanctuary level saint realm. They need the special energy blessing in the fruit of God, otherwise it will be impossible. While Dong Qiushuo was talking, the solemn look in his eyes became more and more serious. At this moment, his thoughts gradually boiled, and the smiles on his face gradually became more and more. But in an instant, the expression on Dong Qiushuo's face suddenly became embarrassed. Brother Dongguo, if you have something to do, you may as well speak up. As long as I can do it, I will definitely not refuse. Fang Fan looked at Dong Qiushuo's troubled face, then said with a smile. Now that they are sworn brothers, they are brothers. It is also necessary to support and help each other. Hey, I'm ashamed to say, brother, you has been trapped in this 8-star sanctuary for an unknown number of years. Every time I try to break through, I always fail. I still hope that brother Fang Fan can help me win a fruit of God. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shuyu. Chapter 1773. While Dong Qiushuo was talking, the expression on his face became more and more embarrassed, even mixed with a sense of shame. Of course, I also know that the value of the fruit of the gods is too expensive, and it is very difficult to obtain the fruit of the gods. I'm just saying that if brother Fang Fan got a fruit of God by chance, I'm willing to give all I have to exchange it. It will definitely not be inferior to the benefit of reporting it to the temple. Saint Dongguo's face turned redder as he spoke. Just now, I began to ask for help, and I still feel a little bit sorry in my heart. What should I do? Brother Dongguo is too polite. Don't worry, as long as I can capture the fruit of God, I will definitely use it to improve Brother Dongguo's cultivation first. If Brother Dongguo can be promoted to the realm of the Holy Venerable, I will also be able to rise and take off behind Brother Dongguo in the future. After all, you are my big brother. Fang Fan laughed, laughing heartily. Dong Qiushuo looked extremely moved, there was even a sparkle in his eyes. Dong Qiushuo continued to remind a few words, and then left. Fang Fan came to the campsite, preparing to plan the relevant layout after entering the ruins of the gods tomorrow. And the surrounding crowd gradually dispersed at this time. The scene where Fang Fan and Dongguo Shenge conspired for such a long time was naturally witnessed by some troublemakers. Although I don't know what they are talking about, but being able to talk for so long is naturally a symbol of an irreversible relationship. Do you guess what is the relationship between Fang Fan, the deputy third-rank acting red-clothed archbishop of the Temple of the Light Alliance, and Dongguo Shenge? How do I think Dongguo Shenge attaches great importance to him? And it's a bit too much. What you said, it seems to be true. This Fang Fan has been promoted one after another not long after he entered the temple. This is extremely rare in the history of the temple. No. There is a problem, there must be something wrong here. Strange, too weird. Could it be that Fang Fan is a descendant of Dongguo Saint's bloodline? Or, an illegitimate child? It's unlikely, they don't look alike at all, aren't you thinking too much? What do you mean I think too much? You can completely control the fact. Anyway, I just feel that something is wrong, very wrong. If there's nothing tricky about it, I don't believe it. Anyway, it's right that Fang Fan is a rising star in the temple. Don't offend him wantonly when you see him in the future, and take it easy. Don't make the same mistakes as that goddess Huangfu Sui of Genji Shenzong. Genji Shenzong's third peak camp. The third peak goddess Fu Sui, who had pretended to be in a coma, gradually woke up with a sullen face. At this moment, beside her are Qi Ling, the deputy master of the third peak of Genji Shenzong, and Do Hao, the godson of the fifth peak. My head, so dizzy, what happened just now? I don't remember anything. Who the hell did it to me? While talking, Huangfu Sui pretended to be very wronged. Okay. Don't pretend. You're already back, why pretend? Sui, why did you become like this now? If your grandfather knew that you were so stubborn, he would definitely not forgive you easily. Qi Ling, the deputy head of the third peak of Genji Shenzong, snorted coldly, and then said angrily. This time because of Huangfu Sui, the entire Genji Shenzong might become a laughing stock. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1774. Thinking of this, Qi Ling inexplicably felt irritable and had a headache. What are you doing every day? Master Qi Ling, what do you mean? What does this have to do with me? It's all that damned Fang Fan. I won't let him go. I must kill him for revenge. Fu Sui, the third peak god of Genji Shenzong, clenched her teeth tightly, her eyes flickering with murderous intent, and the gesture of gnashing her teeth when she spoke was extremely real. Anger has gradually distorted and hideous her face. What do you mean? Sui, are you okay? What do you mean by what you just said? Could it be that you were all in disguise? Sui, why are you doing this? You are a pure and flawless goddess. You can't do this. You are so perfect in my heart, so holy. I do not believe. The mentality of Do Hao, son of the fifth peak of Genji Shenzone, seemed a bit broken. He has always regarded Huangfu Sui as the supreme daughter of God. Such a goddess would not lie, would not get angry, and would not look hideous and distorted. All of this is too disrespectful. The goddess idol in my heart was destroyed, and it seemed unbearable for a while. Do Hao, son of the fifth peak of Genji Shenzone, clutched the position of his heart, looking distraught. In imagination, this feeling seems more real. Roll. Get out. Useless trash. You can't even lick a dog, what else can you do? But when I committed suicide, why didn't you stop me? Let me make a fool of myself in front of everyone. You worthless. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be honoring Sandy. Speaking of which, it's all because of you. You can't even be a dog licking, what else can you do? Huangfu Shui stared at Do Hao with slightly cold eyes, and she had completely torn her face apart at this moment. She also really needs a target and avenue to vent. Shui, you, what did you say? What do you mean when you say this? What did I do wrong? Did it make you unhappy? You say it? You don't want to be like this, okay, I will feel heartbroken if you do this. You have always been the only one in my mind, you said you liked me before. You want to stay with me forever. Why did it change now? Also, and you wanted to hang yourself, wasn't it because you wanted to die to prove your innocence? I am helping you. It is precisely because I like you and love you that I indulge you blindly. Can't you feel it? Sui. Do Hao, son of the fifth peak of Genji Shenzone, vividly shows the posture of licking dogs. It's this time, don't forget to lick. As it turns out, licking a dog is not a good thing, it does make sense. Snapped. A clear and crisp slap sounded, and Huangfu Sui mercilessly slapped Do Hao's face with a big slap, and the look of disdain on that ferocious face was even worse. What do you really think you are? Humph. I tell you. You are worthless in my eyes. I've always been using you, just because of you. You also want to win my favor? Do you think it's possible? My grandfather is the master of the third peak of Genji Shenzone, a famous 8-star sanctuary realm powerhouse. What are you? Godson of the fifth peak of Genji Shenzone? A commoner? Don't even have a backer? Trash. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1775. Huangfu Sui sneered directly, and stared directly at Do Hao while speaking, her eyes revealed endless disdain. Although they are both the son and goddess of Genji Shenzone, there are still some deviations in status. And it is these deviations that lead to their dissatisfaction. In a way, this is all too obvious. Do Hao, son of the fifth peak of Genji Shenzone, stared wide-eyed, completely dumbfounded at the moment. He was so slandered and rejected by his beloved woman. Why has he always maintained the attitude of licking the dog? Don't you still want to embrace the beauty? He thought that he had always been very promising. Although Huangfu Sui had never agreed to his pursuit, at least he hadn't refused. But how has it evolved to this point now? No. Absolutely impossible. Do Hao trembling lips, while talking, his expression has changed greatly. Sui, you, tell me, you just lied in a fit of anger, right? These are not your thoughts, are they? There is still a bright future between us. You told me before. Do Hao's eyes widened, obviously still unwilling to accept this tragic ending. Roll. It's disgusting to see you. Don't appear in front of me in the future, you don't even have the right to lick my shoes. Huang Fuxiu let out a soft drink, and spoke uprightly. Dog licking and spare tires are used to vent to some extent. She feels very good about this situation now. Okay. I can go. But Sui, tell me, what kind of person is worthy of you? I'm working hard towards him now. I will definitely meet your request. Do Hao gritted his teeth, his body began to tremble slightly unnaturally, and his eyeballs turned sideways when he spoke. Being pressed to this point, Huangfu Sui frowned suddenly, and she couldn't help but start to think deeply, who can satisfy and meet her request? A cold and ferocious face could not help appearing in her mind. If you think about it more carefully, you can gradually see his entire stalwart body clearly. At this moment, he is holding a long whip, whipping her body without any scruples. Huangfu Sui's eyes suddenly flashed with excitement and urgency. Putting aside the damage to her face, in fact, when she was beaten, a desire arose in her heart. Huangfu Sui's complexion gradually turned crimson, and she inexplicably felt that her body was a little hot. Sui, Sui. Do Hao called eagerly from the side. Huangfu Sui woke up from the fantasy state, and then her complexion changed suddenly. Get out! You give me, get out! That imaginary state was broken, and Huangfu Sui appeared extremely tyrannical. And, what was she thinking just now? How could she have fantasies about that nasty guy? Huangfu Shui clenched her silver teeth slightly, her complexion became more and more ferocious. Sleepless night. The follow-up seemed relatively quiet, without any major changes. After a night of rest, everyone gathered again in front of the ruins of the gods. This time, the ruins of the gods are finally about to open. Everyone gasped, and the excitement on their faces were vividly interpreted. The treasure hunting journey begins here. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1776. Gate, open. At the same time, hundreds of sanctuary powerhouses from the light camp and the dark camp rose into the air, and immediately cast their spells. The surrounding spiritual power quickly gathered, and then a sky blue portal appeared in front of everyone, which was hundreds of meters wide and tens of meters wide. Meter high, it looks extremely spacious. Everyone looked at each other, and then stepped into the portal. Fang Fan has already greeted all the legions under his command, as well as everyone from the Tianhu clan and Chentian clan, and will hold hands later and enter together. This will ensure that each other can be together from the beginning. Of course, this is not absolute. It is difficult for everyone to guess what accidents will happen during the process of entering the ruins of the gods. Fang Fan's eyes scanned the crowd, and then stopped on Bai Biao. Are you sure you can cover up the past? This relic of the gods has a bone age limit of 500 years. If it exceeds this bone age, it is said that it will be directly crushed by the power of the portal. You'd better take it easy. Fang Fan's eyes focused on Bai Biao, and then he said in a deep voice. Bai Biao had a hunch that there was a lost godhead in the ruins of the gods, so he also wanted to follow up to see it. He felt that entering it would improve his physique and make him more resistant to beatings in the future. It's just that Bai Biao must be more than 500 years old, and this is the key point. No problem. I have my own way. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Bai Biao rubbed his hands together, his face could not help showing excitement. As he spoke, his eyes shone brightly. Thinking of this, it is normal to feel a little excited. Enter. Following the sound of shouting, everyone's eyes focused on this, and then they entered in an orderly manner. This is the entrance of the core area, and the number of people is relatively dozens of times smaller than that of the ordinary area. But even so, at a glance, there are huge crowds of people, probably millions of people. After Fang Fan stepped into the blue portal, he lost consciousness for a short time, and when he woke up, he was already in the ruins of the gods. Puff. As soon as he came in, Bai Biao's face turned red suddenly, and then he spit out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned pale again in an instant. Are you okay? How about it? Fang Fan frowned, then looked at the rather weak Bai Biao. This guy's state was not right. It seems that entering the ruins of the gods in a state beyond Bone Age still left a little sequelae. No. Nothing. Huh, I can still carry, I can carry it. There were streaks of cold sweat all over Bai Biao's forehead, and his body was swaying unnaturally. I'll take you to the small world of Shushan Pavilion. If you continue like this, your body will be worn down. Fang Fan took a deep breath. He really didn't want to see Bai Biao like this. Although there are some bickering with each other on weekdays, I still hope that each other can be better. Boy Fang Fan, I'm really fine. Let's go, look around, you look for your god fruit, I look for my godhead. If you can really meet a godhead, then you will really make a lot of money. For the sake of godhead, this little pain is nothing. I can bear it. Bai Biao raised her head high, then forced herself to stand up, and patted her chest. Puff. Immediately afterwards, Bai Biao spit out another mouthful of blood, apparently failing to pretend. Have these healing cards ready, take it easy, if you lack blood, replenish it, and if you can't hold on, just tell me, and I'll put you in the small world of Shushan Pavilion. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1777. Fang Fan curled his lips, feeling helpless seeing Bai Biao's forceful support, but at this time, he had no choice but to fulfill his wish. The aura here seems to be different. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, sucked it gently, and then a sharp light flashed in his eyes, and the expression on his face gradually became more unique. Aura, is different? What do you mean? Tianhumeyer walked out from the side. Her face could not help showing a look of astonishment, because she didn't feel any difference at all. How should I put it, the concentration of aura here is even lower than that of the big world outside, but if you practice here, the speed of cultivation must be faster than that of the big world outside. The aura here is even mixed with some God's source power and overflowing power of faith. These are very subtle, as if they were ground and placed in this aura, mysterious and mysterious. These tiny source power of God's and overflowing power of faith have been specially processed so that they can be absorbed by the human body. In the process of absorbing spiritual energy, if you can refine some specially processed God's source power and faith power, the speed of cultivation will naturally be faster. With the thought, Fang Fan immediately explained from the side. These are his most sincere feelings from the heart, relatively speaking, they should also be the most real. The aura is mixed with the power of the gods. How much power of the gods do you need? Isn't this too exaggerated? Tianhumeyer's eyes widened, looking extremely incredible. I don't know if it's an exaggeration or not, but if you want to say something weird here, it must be right. Everything is weird, interesting, more and more interesting. I suddenly have more thoughts about the remains of the gods. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised slightly, and then he smiled lightly. Kill. Kill them all. No. All the men were killed, and the women were kept as slaves. These women look really good looking. A group of bronze-skinned people suddenly appeared in the distance. They were dressed in strange clothes and held various weapons in their hands, and immediately surrounded Fang Fan and others. Fang Fan roughly glanced around. There were probably more than 1,000 people. There are about 200 cultivators gathered around Fang Fan, 100 of them are young geniuses from the Tianhu clan and the Chentian clan, in addition to Fang Fan's top 10 legions and a group of heroes. These people should be the natives in the ruins of the gods. Looking at their weapons, they even have harpoons and kitchen knives. They are obviously ordinary people among the Aborigines, but all of them are 7-star emperors or above. What's more, directly reached the low-level quasi-sacred realm. But I haven't found a stronger existence in the low-level quasi-sacred realm. However, the quality of the soldier is also extremely strong. Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes, and then a look of emotion appeared on his face. Wouldn't it be even more powerful for such a good soldier to join his army? However, at first glance, these Aborigines were deeply hostile to them. Just as Fang Fan was thinking, these native soldiers rushed over with great fanfare. Kill! Kill them! GGG, kill them all and bring them back. The woman stays and dedicates to the commander. In the native army, the leader at the head yelled. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1778. Build a line of defense. Sprint to the defender, cut. Fang Fan's cold gaze scanned the surrounding area, and sharp rays of light flickered in his eyes. When he gathered all his strength, he subconsciously frowned. My lord, my cultivation has been suppressed to the low-level quasi-sacred realm. Me too. A group of heroes came over with confused expressions on their faces. I really didn't feel much when I first came in, but now this feeling is particularly profound. A group of heroes are now in the 2-star sanctuary realm, suddenly suppressed to the low-level quasi-sacred realm. The gap is big enough. Brother Dongguo mentioned before that there are some problems inside the ruins of the gods, and there will be some changes in the transformation of 10,000 years. Fang Fan frowned silently, thinking to himself, if it comes, it will be fine, but it's nothing. At this moment, the battle line has been established, and for these natives, they are rushing towards the defense line crazily at this moment. The speed is getting faster and faster, and it seems more and more fierce. Although these people are extremely poor in weapons and equipment, their combat effectiveness cannot be underestimated. They will even display their lives for their lives. In their eyes, it seems that the only belief is to subdue the enemy in front of them. But relatively speaking, what they encountered was Fang Fan, and they were destined to fail. Stop, you can live. Otherwise, die. Fang Fan looked at these native soldiers and issued the most direct warning. But obviously, Fang Fan's warning didn't seem to have any effect. He was running faster and faster, and the excitement in his eyes were beyond words. They just wanted to catch all the prey in front of them. As for the others, they are beyond their control. At a glance, among the more than 1,000 native soldiers, there are only a few low-level quasi-sages, and the rest are from the 7-star emperor to the 10-star emperor. Although they are not weak, the soldiers under Fang Fan in front of the strong combat power, it is destined to be defeated. Bales. Order the low heavy machine artillery corps to focus fire once, and teach them a lesson. The corners of Fang Fan's mouth raised silently, and then he said indifferently, with his hands folded in front of him, his eyes gleamed brightly. Obey my lord. The group of low-heavy machine artillerymen suddenly became serious, and then held the heavy low-heavy machine gun, pressed the switch, and then 20 centimeters shells poured out like machine gun bullets, and the speed of pouring became faster and faster. The magnitude of the pouring is getting bigger and bigger, giving people a sense of shock from the heart. Naturally, those native soldiers had never seen these things before, and they seemed a little confused at first, but gradually, they couldn't help showing extreme panic on their faces. Because these thin-looking shells exploded with shocking power. Boom! Bang bang bang! The sound of shells cracking completely stunned these native soldiers. As soon as they flew over, they suffered a heavy blow, which made them feel trembling and unbelievable from the bottom of their hearts. The hundreds of native soldiers who rushed past in the front row were directly reduced to fly ash. Everything looked so horrifying and terrifying. Devils, they are devils. This is the devil's weapon. Everyone destroy the devil. The leader of the native army widened his eyes, and then shouted in horror, and ran around the surrounding area as he shouted. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1779. No. Master Casino, they are so strong. Very strong. We are not opponents at all. We should avoid. Avoid. There were gradually voices of panic among the native army. They may not be afraid of death in battle, but they still have fear in the face of the unknown. They couldn't even understand how this cannon was formed. The battle couldn't help falling into anxiety. In the beginning, these native troops vowed to wipe out Fang Fan, but now, it has become a complete joke. The situation has been completely reversed. The surrounding people swept over, the speed was getting faster and faster, and the situation gradually became more and more critical. Judging by the current form, it will explode completely in minutes. The anti-siege is over, go over and disarm them. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth, which became more and more interesting. Fang Fan smiled indifferently, he liked this kind of scene. He prefers the feeling that all situations are under control, so that he doesn't seem so lonely. Drop your weapon. Disarm and don't kill. Drop your weapon. Disarm and don't kill. In the crowd, there was a burst of violent shouting, and everyone's eyes focused on this, staring at these native soldiers. In fact, these indigenous soldiers just lost their minds for a while, but it is obviously not that simple to disarm them and surrender. Escape. This is our territory. They can't catch us. There are not a few indigenous soldiers who have such thoughts. They think so, and they do implement it in this way, but the final result is far from as simple as imagined. When they are far away from the army sequence, they will usher in a sharp sickle. The sharp sickle directly cut off their necks and pierced their arteries, causing them to fall on this land forever, at a faster and faster speed. These people have wings and can fly around freely. They are like terrifying vultures, looking for their prey with sharp eyes. Everything seemed so horrifying and frightening, it even made them subconsciously want to retreat. When the escape route was completely blocked, a look of confusion gradually appeared among these indigenous soldiers. If the enemies in front of us can be defeated and are worth defeating, then there has never been any problem in winning the battle, but the problem now is that there is no such thing at all. It's about to explode in minutes, so you're still playing with a hammer? The strength of these people in front of them has exceeded their expectations. They can't generate the motivation and courage to fight at all, and they can only think about their own defeat. When the bright sharp blade reached their necks, their eyes widened, and then they lowered their heads helplessly. Let them put down their weapons and surrender. I will give you the minimum respect and courtesy as warriors. Fang Fan looked at the leader of this group of indigenous soldiers. If he remembered correctly, the leader seemed to be called Casino. At this moment, the Zhantian sword in Fang Fan's hand was resting on his neck. You can kill, but don't want me to surrender. I am a warrior of the great Chu kingdom, and I will never bow my head. Casino raised his head proudly, still thinking about continuing to pretend. As the leader of this group of native soldiers, he wanted to set an example even more at this moment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 1780. Click. Fang Fan raised his sword and fell, Casino's arm was cut off directly, and the bloody scene was very shocking. Ah! Ah! You, what are you doing? Casino gritted his teeth and yelled, his body began to twitch unnaturally, the pain made him lose his voice, and it would be a lie to say that he didn't feel anything at all, and this kind of pain is not something everyone can bear. Surrender, or die. You have one last chance. When it's time for iron and blood, you can't be soft-hearted. Casino was silent. Looking at Fang Fan's cold face, he knew very well that Fang Fan would not give him too many chances. Surrender, and his honor will be lost. It will also become a disgrace to the entire tribe and even the entire kingdom. But if you don't surrender, what can you do? Does he still have a chance? If there is no chance of survival at all, Casino will naturally not have any thoughts, but at least for now, there is still a glimmer of hope for survival. Outsiders! Let go of my people. Otherwise, all of you will be killed. Our Chu kingdom will never die with you. A group of people galloped over again from afar, and the leader was a young woman with exquisite facial features who looked extraordinarily beautiful. Her face looked extremely cold and gorgeous at the moment, like a cold mountain, making it difficult to approach. From her a majestic arrogance and indifference can also be felt in the words. Every word and deed reveals a sense of arrogance. The Queen is Her Royal Highness. Her Royal Highness has come to save us. Her Royal Highness, help us. Her Majesty, these hateful invaders, they want to wipe out our kingdom. A series of shouts followed. Fang Fan frowned silently, it was too noisy. And according to what they said, this woman is the Queen? The Queen of the Chu kingdom they talked about? Fang Fan groaned, his eyes gradually became indifferent, and he couldn't help showing a playful look on his face. He found it more and more interesting. The natives in the ruins of the gods have established a complete order. He even established his own kingdom. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Our great queen is here, you are dead. You must be dead. Let me go. Let me go. Casino, the leader of the bound native army, began to struggle urgently, with an expression of excitement gradually appearing on his face. Fang Fan glanced at him indifferently, and then kicked out. Boom! Casino's body flew directly tens of meters away. Let go of my people. Otherwise, die. The Queen, who was as indifferent as an iceberg, spoke again, and Fang Fan even felt that the surrounding temperature dropped several degrees. This domineering look is quite a bit like a queen. Don't you want to ask me why I got them? We just came here. We didn't intend to entangle or anything. They came here to rob me. Now that we are not strong enough, I defeated them and captured them. They are already my prisoners now. Can you understand? Fang Fan looked at the iceberg-like queen with an extremely indifferent attitude. So what? You are so weak, you should become the prey of our Chi Yu kingdom, shouldn't you? Get caught without a fight and become a slave of my Chi Yu kingdom. I allow you to become my private male slave. The iceberg queen looked at Fang Fan, and Fang Fan was a little annoyed by her superior gaze.